This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
And welcome back, everybody. We are fastly getting close to wedding season. A lot of couples planning their wedding, tweaking some of the things that go along with your wedding. One of the most important things is the food. Typically, that's what people remember. Yeah, I've worked in the DJ industry for years. I'm going to say it. They don't always remember the DJ. They'll remember the food. That's why it's so important. We're going to talk about that with an expert today who does catering for many venues in the Long Island, New York area when it comes to weddings, but not just that. Also special events, social events. He does consulting, and he is also the man behind an amazing place called Foodies Cafe. He's Rich Laurelli, and he's back with us. How are you doing today?
Great, Steve. Thanks for having me again. I thought we had a great podcast the last time, and I'm really looking forward to this one.
Oh, right after we got off the last one, I had to eat because just hearing the dishes, how you source it locally, when it's in season, all of that. And even before we dive into weddings, Foodies Cafe and catering. Foodies Cafe is, for my lack of the best description I have, and this is what we say in New York, it's you have a deli and an amazing one. That's Foodies Cafe. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah. So what it is Foodies Cafe is a little two-dimensional. So first we have the Call Place Village Delicatessen, and that's our home base. That's our office. That's where we work out of, and we feed the community over there in Call Place, and we take care of the businesses, and we're really embedded into the community over there. The Foodies Cafe catering business. What that is, that consists of some venues, some elite venues, the Uncle Corinthian Yacht Club in Amityville, and Seacliff Yacht Club up in Seacliff. And what they are is they're venues that we go in there, we run their restaurants, we do their club events, and we also do a lot of weddings, parties, social events, and community events there. And it gives us the opportunity to feed off of each other, the three different dimensions, as well as with our outside catering. So with our outside catering, which is under the Foodies brand as well, we go into homes, we go into parks, beaches, anywhere someone wants to have a party. And we do elegant events and weddings and different affairs for different people, whatever it is that they're preferring to have, as well as corporate events and whatever it is that we can do, breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
So trends, they come and go, and that certainly applies to the wedding industry and food. I remember years ago, 20, just thinking back here, kind of the big new thing was the chocolate fondue. You know, that was kind of trending then. I see your face. I think you're thinking, Steve, that is so not now. I'm curious, is that even around? And what's also some of the staples that you think will never go away when it comes to food at weddings?
Well, to the fondue station, in its day, it was good. It tended to be a little bit messy. So it wasn't my biggest fan. You know, I wasn't the biggest fan of doing it.
Sure.
I do like to do an assortment of different chocolate dipped fruits and just display them elegantly with the Viennese tables. And so I really like that. So a lot of the different trends that are coming in is with the different stations. So we do like a Latin station, which is pretty impressive. What we do is we make an assortment of different tacos, ceviche, empanadas, and we display them very nicely, and we make them to order for everybody. We also accompany that stuff with like yuca chips and salsas and guacamole and different mules, and we kind of enhance, all those type of stations, which is nice. Another thing that we do pretty well also too is we do a Mediterranean station where we make different kebabs and lamb chops, and we grill them right there in front of the people, and we marinate them for about 3-4 days beforehand, and we use different seasonings and herbs like mint and yogurts and tzatziki's and kind of things like that to dress everything up. And we have the different cheeses, the halloumi cheeses that we grill right there, and we have the feta cheese and all the olives, and which is pretty neat. And that's pretty popular with what we do, as well as kind of enhance the hors d'oeuvres around the different stations.
What are some examples of those stations? I hear, pasta bars are big. There's taco stations, things like that. Any that you've done or you hear about?
Yeah, well, we do a lot of the raw bars. So like when someone's having a wedding in one of the venues, so we're right on the water there. So it just screams for a raw bar. And
Mm.
as soon as the guests and the wedding couple are done with their ceremony, we escort them into the cocktail area. We make a nice Bellini for them, or champagne, or something that they would prefer. And as they're entering the room, we have a big, beautiful display: clams, oysters, lobsters, shrimp, different sauces, minuets, people shucking right in front of them, and people really go for that. And it just adds to the whole venue and to the day. So people really enjoy that. The raw bar is probably one of the most the biggest thing that we do for everyone. We still do a lot of the pasta station, where we have like different pastas, whether it be a pacheri, which is a giant rigatoni, some fresh fusilli, mixing it with different sauces, bolognese sauce, avocado sauce, pesto, garlic and oil, broccoli rabe, roasted, sun-dried tomatoes, Italian sausage. So we kind of mix different sauces, different pastas, pair it out for people. That's pretty popular. People still go for the old mac and cheese bar. You
Mm.
would think, at a wedding, do we want that? A lot of people do it. We make a ton of lobster mac and cheese. So people
Mm.
just really dig right into that.
It's a comfort food. I don't think it's ever going to get old.
No,
you
it
know,
won't. No, no,
you
never
you
will.
do you could do all the other stuff there in terms of the guests. I'm going to try this. I'm going to try that. I believe everybody will always say, "Let me try the mac and cheese. Let me just see what it tastes like." Right?
Right, absolutely. Yeah.
Y-
We certainly make a ton of it, and then you put lobster in anything, people are gonna go crazy for it.
All right. What's the secret to a good mac and cheese?
The cheese, you know, I'm fortunate enough since I have my deli, that I have access to 50, 60 different types of cheeses. So we make sure that we have a great blend. We use like an Asiago, we use a Grana Panana, we use a sharp cheddar. We throw a little smoked Gouda in there, and we melt that all down with some Velveeta. We use the Velveeta cheese as the base. Of course, everybody loves that for their mac and cheese.
Mm.
And
Isn't it funny
and
that you have to use Velveeta because we're going to know, if that's not
yeah,
at least a part of it. And yes, you can kick it up with different things, but it starts with Velveeta.
it does. It starts
Wow.
with Velveeta, and you put the cheeses in there, and you kind of hit it with a little Tabasco sauce at the end. So this
Mm.
way, it has a nice little kick to it. And then from there, that's when we mix our different ingredients into the mac and cheese, depending on people want. Some people would like, lobster in it, or they would like it plain. So that's how we go with the mac and cheese.
Now you mentioned Bellinis before, so it got me thinking. I'm hearing that overall alcohol consumption is actually down nowadays. However, on the flip side of that, cocktails are having a minute. They've been popular, craft cocktails for quite some time now, at least a year or two. Um, have you ever heard of or ever done cocktail pairing menus? So a signature cocktail or a mocktail, and then a dish that would go along with that, or different hors d'oeuvres that might complement it.
Well, just about every wedding, they choose like two signature cocktails. So a lot of
Hmm.
times they've been doing like the Bellini, or an espresso martini. The old fashioned is huge these
Yes,
days.
it's back. It's back. Yes, you
Yeah,
were
it is back.
exactly.
Yeah, it's
Mm.
back and stronger than ever. And so we do a lot of those. In the private clubs for the events, every year we do a whiskey tasting where we do a pairing a menu with. We do different wine tastings that we do pairings, wine and food together.
Sure.
So it's to me, that's the best part of the year. We do that usually in the off season, which is like March. and it really gives you a good chance to be creative and talk to the to the winemakers and talk to the people that handle the distilleries and stuff, and um, it's really neat,
Hmm.
and we do quite a bit of that, and the members of the private clubs, and they really love that.
I'm on the board of the Girl Scouts, and so cookies, it's a thing,
Hmm.
girls. I just bought some the other day. There are places or events can be and have been created for cocktail pairing with Girl Scout cookies. Everything can pair with something. It's pretty funny, you know. What makes you different, Foodies Cafe and Catering, is locally sourced food. And you briefly mentioned it last time we get together. Can we put a microscope on that and talk about what you do, when you do it, what's in season in your area?
Sure. So I'm constantly in contact with the different vendors that I use. I go and I visit the particular warehouses, and I see how they run their operations. I go in there, I look around their inventories. I try to find out who their customers are, and I see what kind of ingredients they're using. And they always
Hmm.
welcome me in, and they appreciate it. And we go around and we start looking at the different items, and then I start picking the menus from there. And so it was interesting that you had mentioned that. So, for instance, for Valentine's Day, we were making a wild mushroom risotto, and so I contacted my vendor for the produce and stuff, and I'm like, I need some, good cremini mushrooms. I need some henna to wood mushrooms. I need some good button mushrooms, some shiitakes, anything else that you can recommend. He says, well, if you want to use a little porcini dust in there or something to kind of
Hmm.
make it a little bit more earthy. So that's one of the things that we do on a constant basis. Last night, for instance, I'm out to dinner, and they had these amazing pea shoot microgreens on the sushi. And so I was thinking, I was like, this is really good. You know, I've had this before. These make a great garnish, but actually, when you eat them, it just enhances everything that you're eating. So it really is very good to do that. With my fish purveyors, these guys are great, and we're talking constantly. What size is the fish that we're cutting to get this from? Where'd the fish come from? They track the whole source from where they buy it to when it's delivered. It's really an incredible process, and it comes down to trust. On both parts. They trust me that I'm going to be using them consistently, and they keep their eyes open. For new and different things in the market to keep me interested in them.
So, Rich, you just mentioned that you went out to dinner. Doing what you do, are you almost subconsciously, I don't want to say judging, but processing? How is that made? What did they do there? Why did they do that? Things like that.
Yeah, 100%.
Mm.
And that's how I learned my trade. I learned my trade by um, from watching other chefs and see how they prepare things, and then I would go home and I would try it out on my family and see if they liked it. and so, and just reading magazines and going out to different restaurants and ordering things off the menu that I I normally wouldn't order. So I always try to keep my mind open to different foods and different techniques and different things, because I'm still constantly learning, and that's really my most favorite part of what I do, is that I am always learning something. And when I see something as good as like what I was having last night,
Mm.
with some different types of sushi and raw scallops and presentations and origami on little things and everything. I really enjoy that, and I try to get inspired and see how I could adapt that into what I do. How can I become more creative? How could I use more ingredients to kind of keep myself on a high level?
You have so many amazing reviews. You've done so many events from weddings to special events and on and on and on. But here we go. I'm going to go mask down. What was the last thing you made? Or maybe an experiment. Let me try this. Either you did it at home for the family and you or they said, that's just not working. And then, like, we tried it. We're not going to make that, but it was an experiment. Let's see how that's going to taste. How these two things, or three, five, whatever, going to go together. Anything comes to mind that you try? That just didn't work. Not good.
Well, we could talk about today's experience.
Oh,
So,
look at that.
yeah. So right now, I'm in the process of interviewing to do some healthy foods in schools. And there's a company that had contacted me to see if I'd be interested in taking over a breakfast and lunch program for two schools on Long Island here
Hmm.
in September. So
Amen,
they
by the
gave,
way, for healthy food in schools. Wow.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
So what they did was they sent me some information to do a trial run. And so I tried a couple of the recipes yesterday. They came out, they were okay. I didn't think they were great, but they were okay. So I said, okay, let's try them again today. So we tried them again today.
Hmm.
We tweaked a little bit of the technique. We still kept the recipes as true as we could, because you have to follow the right guidelines. And they did come out much better. And I'm pretty confident that tomorrow we're going to be successful with what
Wow.
we're going to be presenting. But it's
Wow.
just, but like what you say is like, it's so important that you keep an open mind that, not everything you do is going to be 100% perfect. But, if you look at it and try to get better at it and try to look at an avenue and how you can produce more of it or make it easier on your staff, that's how you can become more successful at what we do. Because one of our major specialties that sets us apart is production. We produce so much food
Hmm.
in so many different areas that we have to cross over all our ingredients and we have to cross over all our techniques to make sure what we're doing in the deli can be used in an elite private club or at a wedding for 150 people that has to be super elegant.
Yeah. And there's a lot of considerations, even in the school situation. So you have the ingredients, you have a goal of healthy, you have to please the palate of kids, and there's cost. So all of those things have to be, I would imagine, factored in the final product. Oh, by the way, it's got to be really good too. There's a lot going
Yeah,
into it.
right. It does have to be good, and it is pretty involving. But the way we approach things is that we're learning something, we're producing something, and we're going to find different avenues to be able to sell something, and that's how we go about it.
As I picture this, Rich, it's almost like I never thought of it this way. R&D, research and development. That's just what you're describing with the food for the schools. We tried it this way. Now we have to develop it a little bit more. Maybe we'll try another ingredient, another source of the ingredient. So it's kind of like research and development to get it right.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is, and that goes on with everything as far as when we're choosing our menus. Uh, when we're exploring the different vendors and finding out where we're going to get the produce from, and giving people a heads up. Hey, look, we're going to be using you know 10 bushels of peaches in the next 2 weeks. Just keep an eye on them for me. Make sure when we
Mm.
get them they're nice and ripe. Or we're going to be going through so much hundreds of pounds of New York sirloin at through the month of September. Keep an eye on it for us, get us the best quality, and just pick it up, and we'll make sure that we grab it from you. So it's all too also about projecting, where your business is going, where it's gonna, and where it's gonna wind up for you. You always have to be at least a month or so ahead of yourself.
Wow. Didn't even consider that. I'm just sitting here thinking, he's cooking up some cool stuff and, planning, but there's a lot more going into this. When we talk about sourced and seasonal food or fruits and vegetables, what is your favorite fruit to work with? What is your favorite vegetable to work with?
I would say that with the fruits, there's a few. So blood oranges are one of my favorites. All of the stone fruits, which is peaches, plums, nectarines, You could just do so much with them through
Mm.
the summer months. It's just phenomenal. We do peaches, we do grilled peaches, or nectarines or plums with baby arugula and
Ooh.
burrata. And just when you cut into the burrata and it goes, and it oozes out in there with a nice fig balsamic glaze on the top, and you got a little bit of that acidity, and then you start going into the peaches. It's really quite refreshing, and it looks so well on the plates when you're presenting it, whether it be in a restaurant or at a wedding. Because people always say when they're at a wedding, like, "Wow, I've never seen a salad like this before at a wedding." Well, because we didn't talk about, you didn't have someone that would talk to you about what was important to you. What type of food do you like? Do you want to do something super seasonal? Look at the venue you're in. You're on the beach, you're in a beautiful place on Long Island. You know, why not have this type of food there? With the blood oranges, they're just amazing. And
Mm.
you can make a nice frisee salad with that, with some sliced avocado, a little bit of red onion. I make a white balsamic citrus vinaigrette with that we squeeze the juice out of the blood oranges with,
Mm.
and a little bit of fresh thyme. It's just really good.
You had me at red
And
onion. Red onions just
yeah,
don't get old for me. They add just a little bit of zing. And to your point, you brought back a memory talking about grilled vegetables. I went to an event, and they do it every year. And you're going to know because we're both in the Long Island area. Um, at the Gatsby at Jones Beach. It's called Taste of the South Shore. Typically, it's like May, June that they do it. And I
yeah,
remember trying grilled watermelon. And I'm like, what's that going to taste like? And there was some stuff around it. It was just a very simple, here's a sample, try it. It was like eating steak. I just was blown away. Just grilled watermelon. It's amazing how things can change when you just change the way you prepare them, right?
yeah, absolutely. We use a lot of watermelon over the summer months, and we pair it a lot with feta cheese, and
Hmm.
that's always good. You can make anything taste good with watermelon and feta cheese. So it's an easy, quick special. Back to like vegetables and grilled vegetables and things. So right now, this time of year, I'm using a lot of leeks and fennel. So with the fennel, what we do is we shave it very thin, and then we blanch it with some lemon juice, a little bit of salt, and we make like a little bit of like a warm slaw with it, and we serve that with like halibut and a real crispy potato, like a roasty type potato, and that's very popular. And you get the little bite from the fennel with the lemon juice, and then some
Mm.
fresh herbs in there and chives. It really goes over well with the restaurants. They
Have you
really
ever
like
have you
that.
ever thought about doing sales, Rich? Because you're selling me and everybody else. It's just
Well, I'm here selling myself to you, Steve. So every day something's for sale, and this, as an entrepreneur,
Mm.
nothing happens without the sale.
Well,
So
but I believe it also starts with the product, and you could be very low chill and just describe these things the way you're describing it. Sold. Like, I'll try that. I'll do that. And I'm somewhat of a picky eater. I won't eat anything. That's that. But everything you're mentioning, whoa. Uh, this is what you do. This is why you've been doing it for so long, and this is why people call upon you. Even the school situation most recently. What's the best way to connect with you? Your website. You have so much information on there, and that has a slice of all the different businesses and venues. What's that?
so the website is foodiescafeli.com, and it is very informative, and there's a contact in there. So you can contact us directly, and either myself or my associate will get back to you right away, and then we kind of go into the process of introduction. So you contact us, we respond to you, we start asking you what's important, we start checking your dates, checking your venues, see where you want to be, find out exactly how you want your day to unfold, and then we do our best to accommodate. And then we start introducing you to our different resources, whether it be DJs and photographers and florists and rental people, or however you need be.
Amazing. And what really does make this amazing, I truly believe, is you and your accessibility. You know, you're in this whole very impersonal world nowadays with AI and technology. It's all great, but you're there. Got a question? Reach out. I think it's fantastic. Even at the very least, get an idea of some of the things you could serve at your next event or your wedding. Rich, fantastic talking with you. Always love having you on here. Looking forward next time we talk.
Same here, Steve. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. We'll be right back.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.